The Judicial Council suspends 22 Circuit Court judges and magistrates effective 10th September and has put 12 High Court judges under investigation following damning video evidence detailing bribery. In all, some 34 top judges have been indicted, and emotions are flaring up among lawyers and state attorneys. Ruthless Ghanaian investigative journalist Anas Arimio Anas has exposed top judges caught engaged in conversations with suspects or agents of suspects before them or their agents, mainly to compromise big cases. Other steps taken by the Judicial Council in order. So beyond the suspension, how else should this matter be handled? Show or not show? Can the affected judges secure an injunction to stop the premiere of Anas's latest report? This is today's big story with me, Stephen Enti. Now, the Judicial Council has cast the first stone by suspending 22 Circuit Court judges and magistrates effective 10th September 2015. 12 High Court judges have also been put under investigation. This announcement comes just barely 24 hours after the Council took over investigations into a damning bribery scandal involving some 34 Superior Court judges and over 100 Judicial Service officials. Although the names of those judges indicted in the scandal have been kept closely guarded, some names have popped up, including the famous Justice John Ajit Nazam, the High Court judge who freed Alfred Agbeshi Woyome in the controversial 51 million Ghana cedi judgment debt scandal. But some lawyers are angry about the scandal.
It's the ultimate judge, God, showing his anger at human beings who have the privilege to be judges and are playing God. So God is angry at these people. You can't play God. Some of the judges, and as we find from this investigation, you have as many as 34 of them being indicted. We need to represent the situation properly, that you have about 350 judges across the country, and out of that number you have these 33 or 34 of them being indicted in this way. The person who's been caught taking money, taking bribe, ought to be prosecuted, and they have to be taken through the due process. In this situation, it's different. He did not only do the work. After he finished the work, he put together a petition. A petition in the form and fashion as is presently going on against the Shraj boss for her removal from office. Because if you want to remove a judge from office, a judge of the Superior Court, like those in the High Court, if you want to remove them, you take a petition to the President. Okay, when the President receives that petition, he will refer that petition to the Chief Justice. When the Chief Justice receives that petition, the Chief Justice will make what we call prima facie finding. After that finding has been done, a committee will be set up. That committee will now subject that evidence you put forward to scrutiny, and after that it will give its decision, and the decision will be that these judges have been found guilty of this and that and should be removed, or that they have not been found guilty. So in this case, there is a roadmap that is going to be followed. So those who be found guilty, certainly, and I have just said that from the records that we have seen so far, it cannot be the case that they will not be found guilty. They will be found guilty. I say they cannot escape even in hell. They will be punished for it, and we need this to happen so that the system can be sanitized.
They cannot escape even in hell. Well, I have in the studio a private legal practitioner, Kojoga Dawood, to join us in the discussion. Mr. Dawood, it's great to have you.
It's a pleasure, Steve.
You look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
So this whole thing, investigation, indicting some 34 judges, and the fact that actually the Judicial Council has taken the decision to suspend 22 Circuit Court judges. What was your initial reaction when you heard that?
Let me say good evening to Ghanaians. I think that it was a mixed feeling, the initial, when I heard this. And I would say that it's a mixed feeling that, one, I was sad that this had happened. Some of the people, the names that we are hearing involved are very solid people who know their job, what they have to do, and you don't know what had pushed them into this. And you know, when you think about the disappointment that comes to the family, the friends, relatives, and even the nation as its whole. Secondly, I was a little bit okay that we have gotten the opportunity. We have always complained about the perception that there's corruption in the judiciary. It has been systemic, it's been chronic. This has been perception, Chief Justice upon Chief Justice. People who matters within the judiciary always have made this. So for me, it was an opportunity, very fine one for us to deal with the issue once and for all. Because it has been something that has been institutionalized, and we have the opportunity now to make sure that we go into it.
Now, out of the 34, I mean, I know that 34 is only a fraction of judges. In the whole country, there are about 300 or so judges, we're told. So these 34 who have been indicted, do you feel that suspending 22 is a good step, is a good first step by the Judicial Council?
Yes. Let me explain it. Maybe there's a constitutional provision.
Okay.
Now, if you have judges from High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, these are judges we refer to as the Superior Court of Judicature.
Okay.
Now, when they are appointed, they have a permanent tenure of office. You cannot remove them, you cannot suspend them. Not even the President or the Chief Justice can influence them in the work they do.
I see.
So, if you want to remove them, the Constitution makes an arrangement
that you have to go
So that's the roadmap. Article 146 makes the roadmap that you need to send a petition to the President. The President takes it, gives it to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice will now form a committee and look into the matter that prima facie. When we say prima facie, it means that on the face of the evidence that is being brought, the person is culpable. Then from there, they will face the committee. They will be given opportunity to also be heard. They will have the right to their lawyers and others. So that is one leg.
Okay.
The second leg is that the justices or the judges of the Circuit Court and Magistrate Court, we refer to them as the lower courts. Now they are appointed by the Chief Justice in consultation with the Judicial Council. So it is the Judicial Council that has that power to hire and that power to fire. So I believe that is why they have suspended them.
So what you're saying is that these 22, we cannot say emphatically that they are to be removed from office. They will first go on suspension, and then the procedures will go through.
Then the procedures will go through.
So it's going to take a while, or?
Yeah. I believe that the issue that had come up, the committees, and my understanding has been set. They are sitting, maybe they will start sitting from tomorrow. When they start sitting, they will invite all of them, just like a hearing, a trial, because it's a case against you. You need to come, and the case will be proven against you or not. It will be from there that they would also make recommendation that you should be. Also, after that, you have a right to go to court and say that what the committee has done, they have abused your right, or you've not been given fair trial. So you want to go to the court for the court also to go through. So it's a process. For me, it's the judiciary. When it comes, we have three arms of government. We have the legislature, we have the executive, we have the judiciary. The judiciary is the last resort for all of us as a nation. When there are issues, it is the last resort that everybody runs to. And for me, the mere fact that yes, evidence, there are cogent evidence against judges and others that has been shown. We are yet to see the full.
That's right. In a public.
We should go slowly, hasten slowly, that we do not bastardize the judiciary. Because if we lose the judiciary, it will be very difficult. Because we cannot change judges today and tomorrow, unlike the two other arms of government, like the legislature, where you can go to election when there is a perception or there is a belief that a parliamentarian or a legislator is corrupt.
You throw
4 years, you throw him out. If the executive comes and it is believed they are corrupt, after 4 or 8 years, you throw them out. But the judiciary, that is why there's a special arrangement.
So
that
this is a serious matter.
It's a serious matter that we need to look at and also build the institution and clean the institution. Because there has been perception that has been with us for all these years.
Right, Mr. Dawood, I'll have you hold. We're trying to get onto the telephone lines to speak to Tony Fossum, who speaks for the Ghana Bar Association, and we'll also be speaking to Mr. Charles Wilcox Asare, who is the National Secretary of the State Attorneys Association. Where we get them, we will add them to our discussion and we'll take various dimensions. We are told that the state attorneys have been in a meeting over this matter. That's actually very serious, and they say that what we're hearing or what's in the public domain is actually just a chip of the iceberg, and the rest of the allegations, when they come up in public, would be a big deal. Yeah. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't heard anything. For me, my one issue that I have is that let's hasten slowly and allow the judiciary to deal with the matter and sanitize.
But you do agree that those indicted must be dealt with. They must be put through the procedure and, if possible, removed from office because they are a disgrace to your profession.
You know, every case must be dealt on its own merits and demerits.
Right, we're told that Mr. Tony Fossum is on the line. Mr. Dawood, I'll have you hold briefly. Mr. Fossum, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Fossum. Right, I think we lost Mr. Fossum. We'll try and re-establish contact. So if you've just joined us, we're discussing the corruption, bribery allegations against some very top judges, and the Ghana Judicial Council has taken the decision to put 22 of Superior Court judges on suspension, and we're told by experts, a lawyer in the studio is telling us that this is just the first step of the process to deal with them. So, Mr. Dawood, we're all baffled. You were saying that we should hasten slowly, and I was wondering whether you don't see this as a disgrace to the profession and the judicial system in general, because we've been talking about it. I mean, year after year, corruption perception indices come out, and we hear that judges, the judiciary is the most corrupt in ranks, really. I mean, corruption is all over the place, but for the judicial service, the importance you place on the judiciary in the governance system of our country means that you shouldn't err like that. You don't think this is actually a damning indictment on all of you? I think not just the 34.
It's a blot on the conscience of this nation, because people who form the judiciary are part of this nation. It is our attitude, things that we do, that has even been imported into the judiciary. If you go to the executive, you go to the legislature, it is things that we do, our culture and other things that have been institutionalized in there. That's why I say that, look, it is an opportunity also for us, in as much as it's a blot on the judiciary, that this scale of corruption has been found in the judiciary. At first, people have been saying it was a perception. Now, if we have the evidence, the hardcore evidence, it becomes a reality. How do we deal with this issue? Now, putting the clip and other things in the public domain, I think the purpose is to name and shame.
And shame.
Now, beyond naming and shaming,
what else?
What else? And I don't think the purpose of this clip or the investigative odyssey that has been gone into by Anas is just to name and shame. It's because there is a fundamental problem.
It's because lawyers and the justice system need to see, they have to sanitize.
It has to be sanitized. So for me, that's why I always say that, look, I think that it is an opportunity to go in and find out what are the issues. Why are they getting into this? And make sure that we clean the slate. When we clean the slate, I know, yes, name and shame. After name and shame, what happens now? Anas has done a lot of jobs in custom, and I believe that there have been reforms since custom. All the issues that had come up, people are still in court. There have been reforms. We may not see it tomorrow, but it is slow. So that is what I believe, that yes, if there is naming and shaming beyond that, is that all we want as a nation? No, I believe, I have a different view. We can name and shame. If we do it, let's get into the matter.
So how bad is the problem? I mean, I want you to, if you, for example, could give us an example to help us understand how serious this problem is. I mean, when we spoke to other lawyers, they tell us that sometimes it's frustrating. You go to court knowing perfectly well that you were prepared, you have a good case, and you go and maybe the case is thrown out. How bad is it? Do you have examples you can share so it will give us a real picture of the situation?
And any practicing lawyer who goes also is part of the system and gets frustrated. You may have a case. I have not always believed that it's because money has changed hands. There are some judges who are on top of the issues. There are others, they don't read. So they rely on the old position of the law. You may be ahead of that judge. You may espouse your law, the exposition. The judge may give you a wrong position of the law on a matter.
And use that to rule against you.
Yes, that's why we have the appeal system. Others, the rules also make a provision. When that you realize that maybe this judge hasn't read the position, you can go into chamber and say, or file a process within 14 days. Even if there's a judgment rule, and say that, my lord, I believe that you have erred. If you have looked at this or adverted your mind to this position, you have changed it. And within 14 days, they themselves can say, look, yes, I have erred. That's one issue. The other one could be money has also changed hands. The other issue you could also go is that when you go to court, prepared well, and the judge comes, most of them, they will only listen. Some, they don't even write to know that this is the argument, this is what has happened, this is the position you have espoused, this is the position the other people have espoused. They only say that I have listened to both of them and this is my decision. It makes it a little bit difficult because you don't have all the records. So it is not only when money changes hands. I always say, for me, is that we also have to look at the criteria based on promotion, on competence and others. Because if you have a very good judge who knows or he's on top of issues, he knows his job, and he's not being promoted, and he says that I'm going to retire. After all, I'm from High Court, I can retire on my salary or anything. So he's a danger.
It's a danger.
He's a danger because he knows that
such inducements could sway him.
Yes, inducement could sway him because he knows that I'm not going to be promoted because I've been tagged. So that's what he would do. Now others would also, others also work hard because they know when I give landmark judgment, they will look at my work, the competency, how I approach my work, and I'll be promoted. So the issues are not straightforward, they are not clear. But you can see some judges, very good judge, when they write a judgment, there is no way you can appeal against that. It's the position of the law. But when you go into it, upon hindsight, you realize that something changed hands.
Something changed hands.
It's a double-edged sword.
double-edged sword,
yes.
indeed. Mr. Dawood, how you hold? We have been trying to get onto the telephone lines to speak to the Ghana Bar Association and the State Attorneys Association of Ghana. We're having difficulties getting them. But earlier we spoke to our own man, Samson Ladiayen, who is a private legal practitioner, and he obviously was angry about the situation. Let's watch.
Already, you must have heard that some of them have collapsed. Some of them are on their hospital beds as we speak. Some of them attempted to resign. They took resignation letters to the Chief Justice, and they have been refused, rejected flatly. You can't resign. Wait till we finish with you.
And we've heard of moves to, try to prevent us from, showing this video.
Those are some of these judges who are seeking to go to court. And I understand actually that yesterday some of them, their lawyers filed the processes in court seeking injunction against the broadcast of the video. It's not stopping us from anything, but stopping the broadcast of the public viewing of the video. But I'll say that is the biggest joke I have ever heard. I'm not sure it will not happen. I'm not sure any judge will sit in the court and agree that those videos should not be watched. In any case, if a court in Ghana granted an injunction that maybe no media house in Ghana should show that video, Anas has connections worldwide. The results of investigations are shown on CNN. They are shown on Al Jazeera all the time. They will be shown on Al Jazeera. They will be shown on other, media networks abroad. Will the judges extend their authority to another jurisdiction? As a lawyer, I am aware that there is a lot of excitement within the legal fraternity that this is good. It will help because we know of very clear circumstances and situations where you have done all the preparation and you go to court and a judge exhibits a behavior seeking to embarrass the lawyer even in front of their client, seeking to give an indication that you've never been to the law school. Meanwhile, in some of these situations, that judge was your classmate and behaving as if he knows all the law but you don't know. And in some of those situations, in fact, they do not know the law they are seeking to apply.
Would you say that this goes to vindicate people like Raymond Atuguba, who took on the judiciary some time back? Before
Raymond Atuguba and the rest spoke, there had been a number of Afrobarometer surveys. Okay, this is not new. Just that over the period, it has been suspicion. And I say, according to our law, a multitude of suspicion cannot constitute proof. Now, we are not dealing with suspicion. We are dealing with real, material, hardcore, ocular evidence.
Right, Samson Ladiayen there. We're told that Tony Fossum, Mr. Tony Fossum, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Bar Association, is joining us. Mr. Fossum, good evening.
Good evening.
It's a bit of an indictment on the union of lawyers, I should put it that way. Do you feel that way as the association, the Ghana Bar Association, and would you have a response to what's happening?
In what respect, sir?
In the respect that 22 Superior Court judges have been suspended by the Judicial Council in connection with the allegations of bribery that has been exposed by investigative journalist Anas Anas. So we want to hear from the Ghana Bar Association, what do you make of this and whether you have a position on the development?
Well, with the greatest respect, this is a demonstration of the reign of the rule of law. That is what the Constitution prescribes, that in such a situation, the Chief Justice acting on the advice of the Judicial Council shall suspend such persons. So this is just the Constitution kicking in.
I see.
So we do not have a position. That is what the fundamental law of the land says. So if that has been done, then it has been done in accordance with the law.
Right, so there are concerns also that these 34 judges who were indicted in this corruption might not face stiffer punishment enough if the due process is followed, because then perhaps the process will grind slowly, as slow as we are used to seeing it.
Well, everybody is entitled to speculate. However, if you look at the dates in question, 31st of August, the petition went, and today is the 9th, and all these actions that the Constitution mandates have been taken, then I beg to differ that this is a situation where the wheels of justice are going to grind slowly. Because trust me, this is a matter which the Chief Justice is not taking lightly. Trust me, this is not a matter the President is taking lightly. Trust me when I say that this is a matter which the whole of Ghana should not take lightly, because it has consequences on the lawyer's reputation, on the investment climate, on the belief in our judicial system. So it is a matter which ought not to be taken lightly.
Right.
I take the position that if we say there is corruption in the presidency and it ought to be investigated, why is it that if there is corruption anywhere, it ought not to be investigated? So it is not a matter which is going to be taken lightly. Remember, years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, some lawyers said there was corruption in the judiciary. The GBA fought on behalf of the judiciary and said, if there is evidence, bring it. Today the situation is different. There is the evidence. The constitutional provisions are kicked in, and we must all learn to carry and respect what the Constitution says.
Right. Mr. Fossum, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much. So, Mr. Dawood, I will end with you. What is the expected outcome of this process? I mean, the process that has started with the suspension of 22 and 12 put under investigation.
Yeah, if the committee, the 22, they are the judges of the lower court.
No, the 22 are the judges of the
lower court. No,
lower court.
The superior court is from high court.
Okay.
So that means that it's 12. They have to go through the committee that will be set up by the
12.
children.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, when they go through, they will face the committee, the panel, and they will make recommendation whether they should be suspended or dismissed. And with the high court charges, the Constitution has made a roadmap. They would also go with their lawyers, face the panel. Then from there, they will make recommendation to the president from the superior, that's the superior court judges. That is what we have to wait and see how it unfolds.
You will say that we should wait with circumspection, especially not make the whole blow it out of proportion yet.
Yeah, we should not blow it out of proportion.
We have seen that video and can draw conclusions for ourselves, or what? Do we need to wait that long?
No, if we see the video, and circumstances, it's there are a lot of circumstances. I believe that there are audio, people who have been, having a chit chat, some you could see the face, the money was changing hands. You see all this. But we need, because when they go to the committee, they will have to put the evidence, they will have to dispute the evidence that that's not me, that's not my voice, that all this mechanics goes on.
And we need to be
patient. We need to be patient and look at it. For me, the other issue about the investment climate, look, investors look at things in a dispassionate manner. They would also know that the judiciary in Ghana, yes, is a solid one, but it's slow. With this, they will also have an opportunity like, let's sanitize, let's put the institution in place. They've been doing it.
Right.
And I don't think this will scare any investor and others. They follow things.
This is good
and they
for
understand.
Ghana in the sense. Right. My name is Stephen Enti, and this has been today's Big Story. Thanks for staying with us.